Dr. Mark Hyman, and I'm in my kitchen. And you know what? We got all to eat in our kitchens because we can't go out to eat too much because of COVID. And I hope you're all having a good time in your kitchens because now's the time to be focused on your health and focus on cooking. And you know, we think we can't get much done to change the world because we're all stuck at home. But the truth is, cooking is a revolutionary act. It's the thing that connects us to everything that matters. And now more than ever it matters to focus on our health, because if we are having poor health, we are likely to get sick from COVID and do not so well. So we know that people who are overweight, people who have chronic illnesses, they get sicker and they're the ones who are dying. So the more you can focus on your own health, you're going to be doing a service to not only yourself and your family, but your community and the country and the doctors who are overwhelmed right now. So we're going to have a fun cooking class tonight, and we're doing it because it's sponsored by Thrive Market. And they are incredible. I have been a supporter of Thrive Market from the first time I ever heard about it. So there's two guys who decided they wanted to democratize really good, yummy food at a discount. In other words, lots of stuff you go to Whole Foods and other stores, it's really expensive. But if you go to Thrive Market, you get 25 to 50% off everything there. That's great. It's all whole, real foods. It's delicious. It's yummy. It's great brands, and everything's been vetted, so there's no junk or weird crap in it. And I just use it all the time. In fact, as soon as COVID hit, I went right to thrivemarket.com and I ordered an enormous amount of food. We got boxes and boxes of food, and we ended up, eating it all. We're still going through it. So I think it's really important to have a place you can go to get real high quality food at a cost that's affordable. And you know what's so great about Thrive Market is they actually give back. They have already provided over $1 million to the COVID relief fund, and it's helping people all over the country struggling with the effects of COVID-19. So they're just a great company, and it's a pretty awesome thing. So we're going to talk about them. And they have a lot of products. I've got a lot of their products here I'm going to use tonight for cooking. And tonight we're going to have a cooking class. There's literally thousands of you out there. I mean like tens of thousands of people. I don't know how many people are watching, but it's a lot. And we're going to be making some recipes out of my cookbook, which is called Food, What the Heck Should I Cook? Now, I wrote this after I wrote Food, What the Heck Should I Eat? Because people are like, what do I cook? And the cookbook, we're going to make a couple of my favorite recipes, which is Persian cucumbers, smashed Persian cucumbers. It's my wife's favorite, which is why I picked it. And also we're going to be making this incredibly yummy coriander salmon. Coriander salmon is so good. It's got salsa on it, and coconut, asparagus, and also cauliflower and red peppers. We'll talk about all the ingredients and why they're so important, because everything you're eating is basically medicine. You want to eat food as medicine. And so when I go to the grocery store, I think of it as my pharmacy. That's Pharmacy, a place where I can actually find the medicines that make me healthy and keep me strong and make me feel good. And I want to make sure everything I put in my body is good, because food is not just calories, it's information, as I always talk about. It's not just energy, it's instructions, it's like code, and it can upgrade or downgrade your biological software with every bite. So I'm not just going to keep talking, but I'm going to start cooking. And the first thing you got to do when you cook, and my mother always said this to me, is that you can read, you can cook. Now, that's because if you can read a recipe, you can cook a recipe. But I would say today, you don't even need to know to read. You can just watch YouTube and you'll learn how to cook. So if you can watch a video, you can cook. So here we go. And the key is to start with real foods. Fresh, real ingredients, and everything here is just a real ingredient. Now, some of it's a little processed, like sesame oil, but it's just organic, cold-pressed sesame oil and coconut aminos. Again, it's a little processed, but it's coconut. And then we have rice vinegar, which is plain old rice vinegar from Thrive Market. I got all this stuff from Thrive. They had all these dry goods on there. And ghee. This is Thrive Market ghee, which is basically like butter, but you take out the casein in the whey, and it just doesn't create allergies. This is incredible. I got this from Thrive Market. It's called Real Salt, and it's made from this incredible place in Utah, which is from ancient beds of salt. So it's really pure and clean. There's no contaminants on it, and it tastes amazing. This is Thrive Market's own organic extra virgin olive oil, which is from Greece, and I love Greek olive oil. I've got the shredded coconut from Bob Red Mills. Again, all these things I got from Thrive. Sesame seeds. These all have medicinal properties. Ground coriander and also cayenne pepper. And then I've got, this is the best part. This is the best part. They've got sockeye wild-caught salmon from Thrive, and they have a whole section of frozen and regeneratively raised frozen products. So you can get regeneratively raised beef, which is almost impossible to find, and you can get wild-caught salmon that's sustainably caught. So all of this is really good for you and good for the planet. All right, so let's see, what we're going to make first is the cucumbers. Now the cucumbers, these are special cucumbers. These are Persian cucumbers, so they're really yummy. And what I do is I always have good knives. When I have really good knives, I have really good knives. And the fun part about the Persian cucumbers is you get to smush them. And these are called smashed Persian cucumbers because you have to smash them, and they have to then soak in a little bit of salt, and it drains the water out of them so they don't get so soggy when you make the cucumbers. And what's so great about it is that it soaks up all the juicy sauce we're going to make for it. So I'm just going to get this colander, and I'm going to take the cucumbers, and I'm going to make it all over them here so you can see what I'm doing. And the way you make smashed cucumbers is you cut them in half like this, you cut them in half like this, and you cut them in half like this, and I always cut the ends off too a little bit. And the way you smash them is you just go like this. You open them up and you just smash them like that. So you can kind of play with your food. And this is it's a bit of a job, but it's kind of fun. And then you just take them when they're smashed and you throw them in the colander, and they drain. So I'm going to do this kind of quickly, but the cucumbers are great. They're really yummy, tasty, and these are special cucumbers because they're like Persian cucumbers, and they really soak up all the juices from the sauce we're going to make for it. And it's kind of spicy. It's kind of unusual. It's really yummy, and you want to watch. I'm not going to be looking at you all the time because I don't want to cut my fingers off. And and sometimes it ends up on the floor, so don't worry about it. It's life. And then the key about your food is, if you take a little bit of time and like choose really great ingredients, like you can get at Thrive Market or you can get at the farmer's market, your food just tastes so different, it tastes so good. And it's important to think about where you get your food because, today a lot of the food we're eating is just industrial food and it's devoid of so many nutrients because the soils are so damaged. So if you eat like broccoli from an industrial place, like an industrial farm, even if it's broccoli, it's still actually got probably 50% less nutrients than it did 50 years ago. So you're ending up with, unfortunately, a lot of nutrient poor food. And so the more you can source things locally, this basil we just picked out of our own garden. We have cucumbers growing in the back with tomatoes. It's a good time to start a garden because, we're all home, stuck at home. So we might as well, even just a potted plant, even herbs out there, pretty easy. So the first thing you got to do when you learn how to cook is timing, because my wife wonders how do I get everything to come out like at the same time, all perfectly done in the right way. And it's what my mother taught me. It's like, how do you know what cooks first? So I know the cucumbers have to soak in the salt for 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to do them first. And then get them out of the way, and they'll be getting ready while I'm starting to make the salsa, and then I'll make the all the vegetables and the salmon, and then it'll all come out ready at the same time. So this is that. We're almost done with the cucumbers, and then we're going to make the cucumber dressing, which is so good. It's my favorite. So. I was on a podcast today with this woman who was like a race car driver. She was like this NASCAR. She was I think won the championship or something, Indy 500. And she was like, well, how do you get kids to eat? And I said, well, start young. When my kids were little, we were in the kitchen. They were cooking with me. We went shopping together. We had a garden. We made all kinds of yummy things together. So they love food and they love being in the kitchen, and they learn to love eat real food, which is something that we don't do now. And I think the fact that we don't cook is probably one of the reasons we're in the trouble we're in, because people don't actually know how to actually take care of their own bodies. Okay, I'm going to do the next part, which is you take a teaspoon of salt. I still look at the recipe sometimes because I want to know how to do it, but I think you take a teaspoon of salt, and I use this salt here, this Redmond salt. It's really, really good. You can get it from Thrive Market. And I put it all over the cucumbers, and then I kind of put it in the sink. So we're going to put it in the sink here, and I toss it up, and you get it all tossed up with the salt. Then this is my favorite pot. It's a Straub cast iron Dutch oven, and it's super heavy. and you just push on there, you can squish down, and now it's fine. So that's basically how you make the cucumbers ready. And then the next step is I'm going to make the dressing for the cucumbers. So the cucumbers are so good. So you take these special oils. So you take the olive oil. Now olive oil is so good because it has aleuropine in it, which is an antiviral. In case you're worried about COVID, you can take more olive oil. It's also got all these incredible polyphenols that help to improve your health. That's why people who have a lot of olive oil don't get heart attacks. And the huge study where they looked in Europe where they found that 7,000 people, they gave them a liter of olive oil, which is about, well, this is a little more than a liter. No, it's a little bit less than a liter. If they basically had one of these a week, they would reduce their heart attack rate as much as actually having cholesterol-lowering medication. So we start off with 2 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon, actually, 1 tablespoon. So I like extra olive oil. And then we do coconut aminos. This is a great Thrive Market product, which I forgot to open, which I will in a sec. And then we have the vinegar, which is rice vinegar. So 1.5 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Now rice vinegar is really yummy. There's sweetened and unsweetened ones, but you do about 1.5 tablespoons. And the coconut aminos are really delicious. And they're like soy sauce, but without the soy. So if you don't want to use soy, you don't have to do that. And they really taste good. I should have done this before, but I didn't. Alright, so now we have the 2.5 tablespoons of that. Okay, this is a real-time TV here. 1, 2.5. Okay, so there's the coconut aminos. And then we also need a little bit of salt we put in there as well. I think, if you put in too much salt, sometimes it's too salty. So I sometimes don't salt as much up front and then a little bit more later. But put a little bit more salt in. And then I'm going to put a little bit of chili peppers. Now, it says 2 teaspoons. I probably wouldn't use 2 teaspoons because it's really spicy. So I'll use like 1/2 teaspoon because I don't want it too spicy. The little chili flakes are really, really yummy. And then we also use sesame oil. Now sesame oil is toasted. Toasted sesame oil is really different than regular sesame oil. It's very, very flavorful and yummy and pretty good. So I'm going to use a little toasted sesame oil, which is, let's see, 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. And that's the toasted sesame oil. And you have olive oil, vinegar, sesame oil. See if you can read, you can cook. Oh, yeah, one more thing. We're almost done. And then we use garlic. Now, this is my grandmother's. I have my grandmother's garlic press. It's kind of old. It's kind of funky, but it works really great. I just squeeze a little garlic in there. And a little bit here. And then I just kind of cut it off with the knife, a little bit like that. And then stir it up. And then that's the sauce. And then I also use cilantro. So then you take cilantro, which I have here, which is incredibly healthy for you. Cilantro essentially is like coriander, but it's very detoxifying. It's just a really yummy tasting. I just think it tastes like soap when I was a kid, but it really doesn't taste like soap. And get that ready to put on at the end. So basically this is almost ready now. So when the cucumbers are done, I just throw all that together. I toast some sesame seeds, which I'll do a little bit later. The sesame seeds go in there too. So that's the Persian cucumber. Super, super simple. Now we're going to make the salsa for the salmon. So we basically have salmon, wild salmon, with a coconut, onion, tomato salsa. And we also have in addition to the salsa, we have cauliflower, asparagus, and red peppers, which we'll stir fry and make it really yummy. So, okay, so let's put this over here. We're going to make the little salsa now. The salsa is pretty easy to make. All you need is about a 1/4 cup of an onion. So cut an onion out. Now, I love red onions because they're just really yummy. And you know what's really great about onions is they have something called quercetin. Now, quercetin, turns out, is one of the most powerful things from the natural world that helps to prevent COVID. And actually, a lot of research is being done on quercetin and how it can help strengthen your immune system and prevent you from getting COVID. So I'm really happy about eating onions. And garlic is also antimicrobial. So you've got these detoxifying compounds, antimicrobial compounds, anti-inflammatory compounds in your food. Now, one of the key things is having knife skills. You want to have sharp knives, good knives. And you want to make sure you don't chop your fingers off, which would be very bad. It would be very embarrassing if I did that on this cooking show. So I'm going to watch very carefully. And then you want to dice these, so just really nice small pieces. And you want to curl your fingers under like that, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people watching that make all kinds of comments about what a bad job I'm doing, but that's okay. I've been doing this for a long time and seem to not cut off any fingers yet. And then you can just chop it up and dice it up nice and fine. And I think that's too much, but I only need a 1/4 cup, so it's really a little bit. So we have a little bit of onions, put them in here. Ooh, making me cry. So a little 1/4 cup onions. And then we're going to take a tomato. I'll save that for later. Something else. Ooh, I'm crying now. Ooh. Okay. Well, it's going to ruin my makeup. All right, so then you take a tomato, a nice big tomato, and then you want to dice the tomato up nice in small bits. And tomatoes are full of lycopene, which is a very powerful anti-cancer compound, and really, really good for you. And then I'm just going to dice this up. So you're basically just making it really small little bits, because you're making a little bit of salsa. And it doesn't take that long. It's not that hard to make salsa. And let's get all this stuff out of here. You can tell this is a real professional show we got going on here, but we're doing our best at home. And we're going to, we call this the tomatoes. Chop it up. And goes in there. And then we have one more tomato piece to go. Now, sometimes they have it all like prepped and everything. I figured I just would do it like this, because this is real-time cooking, and you know, maybe one day we can do it where you actually do it with me and we can all do it together. But then you might cut your fingers if you're watching me, so it's probably not a good idea. So the salsa is pretty easy to make. You just need the onions, the tomatoes. Throw those in here. And then we're going to put the basil. This is basil I got from my own garden. I'm going to chop that up, a 1/4 cup of basil. And basil is just so yummy and tasty and so good for you. Because there's all these phytochemicals. There's like 25,000 phytochemicals in plants, which are all medicinal. And all have incredible powers for healing. And it's literally medicine. So the more herbs and spices you use, the better off you are. And this recipe has a lot of herbs and spices. We have basil, we have coriander, we have cilantro, we have peppers, we have cayenne pepper, just really yummy amounts of spices. And then we're also going to put an olive oil in there, so a little bit of olive oil. We got olive oil. We're going to make this salsa here, so we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. And we're going to put in the juice of 1 lime. This is my lime. And what I really like is having the right kitchen tool. So this is my favorite kitchen tool. It's basically a lemon squeezer. So you just take the thing like this and you squeeze it in. And, oh, so good. This is going to be the best salsa ever. And then we have one more ingredient, which is coconut, shredded coconut, a little bit of cayenne. So we're going to take a little bit of cayenne pepper we got from Thrive Market. This is their Thrive Market cayenne pepper. And they have everything. They have household goods. They have cleaning goods. They have non-toxic skincare products. They have all the regeneratively raised beef and organic and sustainably raised seafood products. They have all the packaged goods you'd want. So anything you want, whether it's shampoo or whether it's wild salmon, they got it. Okay, so you just want a little bit of cayenne pepper because it's pretty spicy, so you don't want too much. So a little bit of cayenne pepper, a quarter teaspoon, and then we're going to do the coconut. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of that. And you can toast it or not toast it. I don't mind not toasting it. You can toast it. And then that's your salsa. You have this beautiful salsa that you just have this homemade yummy salsa. It's so good. And you just let it seep there, and they'll put that on your salmon after. So that's going to be on top of the salmon as a special dressing on top of the salmon. That's pretty yummy. So the next thing that I do is I clean up as I go. Because if you don't, it's kind of gross and messy, and I just make sure I want to clean up. So I'm just going to go clean up. Now, I do have a compost pile. So I have like a compost pile right here, and I make compost. So this is basically where I throw all the scraps, because food waste is basically one of the biggest challenges we face in America. There's 40% of our food we waste, and I get to throw all my compost scraps in here and clean up as I go. And it's really pretty fantastic, and I don't have to worry about ending up in landfills and causing all kinds of climate change. I mean, 40% of our food is wasted, and if food waste for a country would literally be the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gases after the U.S. and China. I mean, it's crazy. We grow enough food to feed 10 billion people. It's about $2.6 trillion of food we waste every year, and it would, if we had to grow, to be on the size of the landmass of China. Okay, so then wash my hands, do a clean up. Okay. So now we're going to make the salmon. We're going to make the vegetables that go with the salmon, which is pretty fun. Now I always make sure I cook with my wife and have friends, and like my wife always like, well, just have everything ready before they come. I'm like, no, let's just all cook together and hang out. It's like way more fun. I don't care. It doesn't be perfect or ready. All right, so we're going to make the vegetables. So we're going to have asparagus and red pepper and cauliflower. So we're going to put this over here. Get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. We need this. We don't need that. This is a clean area for cooking. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to show you how to do these veggies, because we have asparagus. Now, asparagus can get weird because if you don't do it right, it's going to be chewy and woody and like too much fiber, and it's not going to be good. So my mom taught me this technique. You just basically take the asparagus and you just crack them like that. And wherever they crack is the place where it's still tender, so you don't have to worry about eating all the bad stuff. Now you can always make stew out of it. You could, stock out of it, and basically pop these things off and then just throw them in the compost. And that's it. And so that's how you do the asparagus. That's really easy. The cauliflower, you can do it in a food processor. I don't like using machines too much, so I just I just do it by hand. And what I do like to do is make the cauliflowerettes. You can just kind of pull them off like this, like that, and then you can kind of have these beautiful flowerets. And you can make them smaller if you want, but if you cut them, it kind of acts weird. So I just like to pull them off. That's what I like to do anyway. I don't know if the recipe says that, but probably not. And you can cut out the big meaty thing in the middle. Now, you can sometimes use these in stocks. You can chop them up. You can still eat them. Like we grew broccoli and we were eating the broccolis leaves, even though you don't really get broccoli leaves when you get them in the store, but you can eat them. They're really yummy. So just make this into little bits, and then sometimes you may want to cut them if they're too big. And we're going to stir fry this soon. This is going to be like stir-fried asparagus and stir-fried cauliflower and little stir-fried red pepper. There's a lot of different ways of doing red pepper to get the seeds out, but I don't know. I think it's just like how do you work with veggies? It's like you have to learn how their character is and what they need and what they do. And so what you do is basically I just cut the end like this, and then I can take the whole thing out like that. Just how simple that is. And then that goes in the garbage, and then I got this nice clean red pepper, and I can still have this one. So it's really easy, simple, and great for you. And this one, you just want to make it in little bite-sized pieces. And I'm not a fussy chef. Like, it doesn't have to be perfectly shaped and look perfect. It's just having fun, enjoying it. And we do so much today with our heads and our computers, and we just don't do that many real things anymore. And so actually cooking is a real thing. You're dealing with all this incredible stuff from the earth. And it's so great. And I always like to have the right ingredients around, because if you don't have the right ingredients around, it's hard to cook. So I always have my staples, and that's really why I go to Thrive Market, and I get everything 25 to 50% off. I get my olive oils, all my vinegars, my soy sauces, all my spices, salts. There's snacks, there's jerkies. I have pretty much I just kind of go crazy there. They have chocolate, they have all the nut butters, and then of course we get our ecologically sound shampoos and things without all kinds of nasty chemicals, and dishwashing soap and dishwasher liquid and laundry soap. So you can pretty much get all the things you need for your home. There's even pet stuff, they have vitamins, pretty much everything. So we are going to cut these a little bit and asparagus. So now we have this incredible, beautiful amount of veggies, which I'm going to put in here. And we're going to stir fry these in a minute in some ghee, which is part of the recipe. Well, it may not fit in here, might be a problem. Okay, so that's the getting ready. Now I like taking things ready, so that when you're ready to cook, it just goes really quick. Okay, the next step is the salmon. So we have to get salmon ready. I'm going to clean up a little bit as I go here, because that's what I do in real life. And this is real life. It's a reality TV show with Dr. Hyman in his kitchen. Okay, I always find my own TV show, but I guess this is what I got. Okay. All right, so now we've got the salmon time. So the salmon, we're going to make pretty simply. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. This is a Thrive Market sockeye salmon. It comes in individually wrapped, nicely wrapped pieces, so you can have really individual sizes. So we're going to do 1, 2. And this calls for four of these, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put that one back in the fridge. And so we're going to get a okay, so we're going to get this pan. We're basically going to take the salmon pieces and we're going to coat them in coriander and ghee and salt, and it'll be yummy. And you can use avocado oil. If you don't want to use ghee, you can use avocado oil. Thrive Market also has avocado oil. They have all kinds of great stuff. You want to put the skin side down, pieces like that. And I actually, these are frozen. I had these from when I ordered all the stuff when COVID started. I ordered all this incredible, delicious stuff, chicken and different meats and regenerative meats and organic stuff. And this is, I've already heated up the oven, so you want to make sure the oven's nice heating up. It's heats at 350. And what I'm probably going to do also is take these, once I've taken these out, I'm going to coat the little salmons in ghee. So I have a really nice little tool here, which is this, and I'm going to put a little ghee. And it's nice and hot in the summer, so the ghee's kind of liquidy, which is nice. In the winter, it's not so liquidy. But this is the Thrive Market ghee, which is really yummy and organic and grass-fed. And you just basically put this on like that. Now I'm going to probably put it on the other side too, so it won't stick. So we have it on the other side. And it's pretty easy to do. Cooking is not so hard, it's just little steps. And you don't have to make super complicated things. Most of the time I make really simple things, but tonight I thought I'd make something special for you all because we're all having a dinner party together. I wish you could come over and eat with me, but I can't. So you're going to have to let me and my wife enjoy this. So that's the ghee, pretty straightforward. And then you take coriander. You gotta wash your hands. And coriander is such a great spice. I just love the flavor of it. Again, this is organic coriander from Thrive Market. And we're going to sprinkle that on there. My hands are all wet. Okay, so these are a little hard to open when your hands are wet, but probably should have done it when I was dry. This is the hardest part of the recipe. Of course, if you put butter on your hands first, then it really works much easier. No, it doesn't. Okay, so you sprinkle this on, like a little coriander sprinkled on the top, and I'll smush it around after, but I'm gonna spread it on there. This coriander salmon, it just gives such a nice flavor. My wife, who doesn't even like fish, should probably like it. Yeah, and then I do a little salt. And I do a little salt. I tend to do like with my fingers, so you can control it more. There's that fancy guy who was like this. Remember, like that show? He does all that thing with the salt. So that's kind of fun. And then a little salt. And then you sort of smush it around, make it all even. So it sort of works like that. And that's it. And that just cooks in the oven for like 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm going to throw that in the oven while everything is going to sort of make this stir fry. So that goes in there, and I put the timer on so I know what's going on. And it should be done about 10-12 minutes. And then we're going to do a stir fry with a little bit more ghee, or you can use you can use whatever you want. You can use avocado oil. Avocado oil is better for high temperature cooking. Ghee is better for high temperature cooking. So I think that's really important. You not use olive oil like this because it oxidizes and kind of goes bad and rancid. All right, so okay, so basically this is the next step. So this is one of my favorite things. I got this pan. It's called Our Place. I don't have any investment in it, but it's the coolest pan. It's got a steamer that goes in there and a lid. It's got this little spoon that goes on the outside. It's ceramic. It's non-stick. It's cast iron and ceramic, and it's really, really good. And I like to use really good cooking equipment. I've had pans that I've had literally for decades. I've had knives that I've had for decades. Also, we're going to heat up at the same time. Sometimes I do two things at once. I'm going to heat up the sesame seeds, which goes on the salad, on the Persian cucumber salad. So put that in there. Now, while I'm waiting for this all to start working, what I'm going to do is actually, I like extra sesame seeds. They're a great source of calcium. They're really delicious. I go over here, and you can see the success of our squished out of our squished out cucumbers, because the cucumbers have all the water out now because they're all drained out. I'm going to take these beautiful cucumbers, And I'm going to mix them up in this delicious sauce, which is kind of a spicy, olive oily sesame seed sauce. And then I'm just going to put that in there. And then stir them up. And then I'm going to throw the coriander. Now some people say just put a little bit, but I like the whole thing. I just like tons of coriander. And I put it in there. And this is the Persian cucumber salad. And that's really all there is to it. It's super simple to make. Once you make the dressing, smash the cucumbers is the hardest part. You know, cilantro is really easy to chop up, and you've got this really incredibly delicious salad, and everybody really loves it. And then you put the sesame seeds on the end to make it really delicious, because sesame seeds give a little extra like nutty flavor, and it's also good for you. So I always like to use seeds and nuts and spices, and so we're just heating up the pan here. And the thing about these sesame seeds, I like cast iron pans. If you don't, watch them, they'll burn. So you gotta like watch them and make sure they're okay and not going to burn. Don't leave the kitchen. I mean, you can't leave the kitchen if you're cooking. You gotta stay in the kitchen. Like you can get in trouble if you get all this stuff that's cooking and you burn it. I'm sure that's never happened to any of you, of course. But and then this is going to be heating up now. And then what I'm going to do is just make these veggies here pretty soon. Once I get a little bit of ghee. So the pan's heating up. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of ghee in. And then we're going to just make a stir fry here. So you have to do two things at once. So I'm really cooking the salmon. I'm toasting the seeds. And I'm getting the stir fry ready for the salmon. Now, if you want, you can cut these things up into smaller bits, but I like them in chunks like that. I like the bigger food. And then you need a little bit of salt for it as well. If it's cooking, and you might need a little water. You might need a little water, but I mean, most times it's pretty fine just to make it. Okay, I just have a glass of water. I can pour on it doesn't burn. So these are burning now. I gotta take these off. So these are all nice, toasty, and beautiful. And I'm just gonna throw them on top here. And we have these nice toasted sesame seeds on our Persian cucumber salad. And one of the key things for cooking is, I can be away for a month, and I come home, and I have some stuff in the freezer, maybe some fried salmon or auxiliary beef. I have all the condiments, everything ready to go. I literally can make stuff that is so delicious by having all the amazing things that I have in my kitchen. So if you want to look here, this is my pantry. Like I have all these yummy things in here, which allows me to basically have the ability to cook whatever I want, whenever I want. I have an incredible spice drawer, which is really, really fun. And then I have all this stuff there. So I literally have everything I need to cook at any time and make all these delicious foods. And all I need is a few fresh ingredients, and that's it. So it's really pretty simple. And honestly, now it's really tough. Everybody during COVID, and people are struggling to figure out what to do, what to make. But like, I just encourage you to get in the kitchen and take the time. It's been one of the best parts of being grounded, is essentially being able to cook real, full, delicious food and eat yummy food. We try making things we never made. Some it's good, sometimes it doesn't turn out so good, and my wife won't eat it, but that's okay. So I just put a little water in here just so it doesn't burn. And pretty much that's an incredibly simple, delicious meal. And, we've been going at it 40 minutes, but this is a little bit more complicated meal. But within 45 minutes, you can have a delicious meal on the table. If you get help, usually I have help, which is my wife. She's my sous chef. It goes a lot faster. We work together, and kind of in 20 minutes you can have a delicious meal made. And so we've also got this incredible ability to just make simple food. You don't have to make complicated dishes. You don't have to follow recipes all the time. You can make simple foods, just like make a salad. You can grill a piece of fish or And one of my favorite things to do is make a summer salad where I take all these veggies like arugula. I take also what else I take? I take fennel, chopped fennel, cherry tomatoes, olives, regular maybe like cucumbers, and then I put them all in a big platter, and then I take a skirt steak, and a grass-fed skirt steak, and I grill it on the grill, slice it up, put a little balsamic olive oil. It's an incredible meal. People think you're a fancy chef, but it really doesn't take a lot to make really delicious, yummy food. So now sometimes, you know, the thing is when you're cooking, like probably if I do this differently, I would actually probably put the cauliflower in first, because that takes a little longer to cook. And then the asparagus, you know, takes a little less time to cook. So they can get a little overcooked. But I like, you know, crunchy vegetables anyway, so you don't want to overcook them. If you overcook veggies, you end up with mush, which is why people don't like veggies. So I'm going to let this just cook for a minute here. I'm going to go over and check the salmon. And you can kind of see it cooking really nicely. That's really delicious. It doesn't take long. It's really easy. Just put it in the oven. And then this is so good. I can't wait to eat this. This is the salsa that's going to go on there. I'm going to grab some plates. We're going to plate it up a little bit. And show you how this looks. And then I'm going to go have dinner with my wife, and you guys can go hang out. So, you know, the thing about Thrive Market is that it's one of the most unique companies, because if you look at, you know, most of the stuff you get out there that's really high quality, it's often very expensive. You know, if you want to get really good ingredients, it's not cheap. But what's beautiful about Thrive is they cut out the middleman. It's sort of like Amazon meets Costco meets Whole Foods. It's a membership service. You can join for 1 month, you can join for a year, and you can end up, you know, also giving back, because they do a lot of giving back to the community and give free memberships away to people who need it, who are underserved, who are hungry, who don't have the things that we can often get. And I just find it such an easy thing to do, to go on the Thrive website. You know, they have, you know, if you are paleo, if you're vegan, if you're keto, if whatever, they have all the different tabs you can check, and they have all the different categories of whatever you want to eat. And they have their own products, which is really high quality private label products, which are so good. And they've sourced it from the best ingredients, like this olive oil is my staple for the grease. I love Greek olive oil. I'm going to check my cauliflower over here. Yeah, so this is probably ready. So I'm going to turn it off and let it just sit for a bit. This is probably ready now. And so I think, you know, one of the things that people do is that they struggle to find the right ingredients. They struggle to find foods that they like. They struggle to you know, understand what to do. And I think getting your kitchen organized is so critical. I think for me, in order for me to be healthy and for my family to be healthy, I just focus on making my kitchen ready to go at all times. And it shocks my wife every time. We come home from a trip and everything's there, but I'll make this incredible meal from nothing, because everything's there that we need. All the staples are there, and that's what Thrive Market has. It has all the staples you need for your home, whether it's your kitchen, whether it's your bathroom, whether it's your cleaning supplies, whether it's your pantry. I mean, and I even vegetables. They have beets that they have that already cooked. They have all kinds of incredible olives, like one of my favorite, these dried Spanish olives they have. So there's just amazing, amazing food that you can get at a really decent price, and you're doing good by helping other communities and giving back. And like I said, they've given $1 million to the COVID relief over the last few months, and they're just a really solid company doing good things. And I encourage you to check it out. And then you get to eat all this yummy, delicious food. I can't wait to eat this salsa. It looks so good. And the Persian cucumbers. I'm actually pretty hungry. I went for a very long walk today, and I didn't really eat enough because I was working too hard. Let me see. I think the salmon might be done in 15 seconds. And we are going to get everything ready. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we get everything all set for the plating. Okay, that means it's done. So salmon is very quick. This is a very thin piece of salmon. It's very easy to make, and you know, I'll just take a little bit of the cauliflower mixture, put it on the plate. You have a little bit of cauliflower asparagus mixture, and stir fry, and we take this piece of salmon and lay it aside like that, and we take some nice salsa. Look at that salsa. some salsa on top. And you have your persian cucumbers, which are, now you want to stir it up because you got all the sesame seeds in there. And, you know, this is basically what I say is you should have 75% of your plate as vegetables. And this is definitely 75% of my plate is vegetables. And then you get unlimited refills. I mean, you can have unlimited refills on the cauliflower, on the asparagus. Asparagus are great. They're actually a prebiotic food. And this is your wonderful dinner that everybody gets to eat. And I really wish you could all have dinner with me. But we can't. So I encourage everybody to check out Thrive Market. They're having an incredible special offer. You can sign up right now and get a membership. You'll get $20 in shopping credit. It goes towards your favorite foods, your body and household items. And anytime you spend more than $49, you'll get carbon-free shipping, which is a pretty cool thing that you can't get in most places. So just go over to thrivemarket.com. That's thrivemarket.com/Dr. Hyman. That's Dr. Hyman. And you'll get all the things that you could ever want. Just go to thrivemarket.com/Dr. Hyman, and you'll get all the yummy foods. Did I say that right? No, maybe I didn't. Okay, say it again. We're gonna. I've been cooking and sweating and slaving in this hot kitchen. What do you expect? Okay, so just head over to thrivemarket.com/Dr. Hyman, and you can get all the things you love to live a long, healthy, and a delicious life. Have a great evening. It's been great hanging out with you. I hope we get to do this again. And I keep cooking because everybody needs to get in the kitchen and cook, because cooking is a revolutionary act, and it's probably the biggest act of protest you can do now to transform our food system. So let's get in there and do it.